Metaphysics. Metaphysics poses questions on the nature of existence, what reality is made of, what causality is, and on the concept of free will. It encompasses ontology, which is the study of being, cosmology, which is the study of the nature of the universe, and theology, which is the study of the nature of God and divine beings. Plato believed in a realm of abstract forms, ideal, perfect concepts beyond the material world. Aristotle developed a systematic metaphysical framework based on substance, potentiality, what something could become, and actuality, what something currently is. Descartes argued for mind-body dualism, claiming the mind and body are separate substances and both occupy different spaces and bear different purposes. Kant believed in determinism in the physical world and argued that humans can never know reality itself, only how it appears to us. Heidegger explored the meaning of being and existence, which he termed as Dasein, which suggests that, unlike other entities in the world, humans are self-aware beings and we question our own existence. Epistemology. Epistemology asks questions on the nature of knowledge and its limits, and on the nature of truth. There are two main schools: rationalism, where knowledge comes from reason and logic, and empiricism, where knowledge comes from experience and observation. Plato believed in innate knowledge and introduced the theory of forms, arguing that true knowledge comes from understanding ideal, abstract concepts. Aristotle rejected Plato's theory of forms and introduced empiricism, arguing that knowledge comes from experience and observation. René Descartes introduced skepticism and doubted everything until he found a certain truth. I think, therefore I am. John Locke argued that the mind is a tabula rasa, or a blank slate at birth, and that all knowledge comes from experience either through sensation or reflection. David Hume argued that we cannot be 100% certain about anything, including the cause and effect, and introduced the problem of induction. Just because the sun has risen every day doesn't mean it will rise tomorrow. Immanuel Kant argued that the mind actively structures experience. We don't just receive knowledge. We never know the thing in itself, or noumenon, only how it appears to us, or phenomenon. Edmund Gettier showed that a person can have a justified true belief, yet still not have real knowledge because the belief is true by luck. For example, going outside and seeing a bird, and instantly confirming it to be real, is just a stroke of luck, as the area could be filled with fake birds, and you could have just happened to look at a real one by chance. Ethics. Ethics poses questions on what is right and wrong, good and bad, and whether moral values are objective or subjective. Socrates believed that virtue is knowledge. If people truly understood what is good, they would do it. Aristotle believed ethics is about developing good character, or virtues, not just following rules. Immanuel Kant believed in absolute moral rules. For example, killing is always wrong. Jeremy Bentham introduced utilitarianism, which states that the best action as a society is the one that maximizes happiness. John Stuart Mill improved on Bentham's theory by arguing that intellectual and moral pleasures, like art and philosophy, are superior to simple physical pleasures. Friedrich Nietzsche criticized traditional morality as a tool for control, and proposed the idea of the Übermensch, an individual who creates their own moral values. Jean-Paul Sartre believed in radical freedom and responsibility, which implies that there is no universal moral code, only what we decide. Alasdair MacIntyre argued that morality is shaped by traditions and communities, not just abstract rules. Logic. Logic poses questions on the fundamental principles of valid reasoning, how logic relates to our understanding of knowledge and reality, and whether logic is objective or subjective. For over 2,000 years, Aristotelian logic, or syllogistic logic, was treated as the canon of logic in the Western world. A classic example of this system is, all humans are mortal. Aristotle is a human, therefore Aristotle is mortal. However, modern developments in this field have led to a large variety of logical systems. These systems are complex and vary in application and theory, so it is difficult to summarize them. Therefore, they will be discussed in a future video. Aesthetics. Aesthetics poses questions on what beauty is, what art is, and how we judge and rate art. It also questions the role of the artist and the audience. Plato saw beauty as a form beyond reality and viewed art only as an imitation or mimesis which could mislead an individual. Aristotle argued against this and focused on catharsis in art, arguing that art can have a therapeutic, moral, and educational role. Kant argued that beauty is judged through disinterested pleasure, meaning we appreciate it without personal desire or utility. Hegel saw art as part of the historical development of the spirit, or Geist, and valued it as a means of self-expression. Schopenhauer believed art provides a way to escape suffering, especially through music. Nietzsche saw art as essential for overcoming nihilism, famously stating, "We have art in order not to die of the truth." Heidegger argued that art reveals truths about existence and being. Lyotard argued that art should provoke awe and uncertainty rather than provide harmony or resolution. Political philosophy. Political philosophy asks questions on justice, freedom, the rights and responsibilities of individuals in a society, and the best form of government. The major theories include liberalism, which emphasizes individual rights, democracy, and limited government, and was first proposed by John Locke and John Stuart Mill. Conservatism, which values tradition, social stability, and gradual change as first proposed by Edmund Burke. Socialism, which advocates collective ownership and economic equality, proposed by Karl Marx. Anarchism, which rejects centralized authority in favor of self-governance, as proposed by Pierre-Joseph Proudhon. Libertarianism, which prioritizes individual liberty and minimal state intervention, proposed by Robert Nozick, and communitarianism, which stresses the role of community and social values over pure individualism, proposed by Alasdair MacIntyre. Other influential philosophers were Niccolò Machiavelli, who focused on power, strategies, and pragmatism in politics, Max Weber, who analyzed authority and bureaucracy, and Michel Foucault, who studied power, surveillance, and social control, and became a cornerstone in postmodern political philosophy.